Hi there, my name is Anna. Everybody likes to dream, right? What do you guys dream about most of the time? Some dream about a car, some dream about friends, some dream about true love, and so on. I had a dream too, but the scariest thing is not to dream, but to get stuck there. To get stuck to the point where you no longer know what is real and what is an illusion. Sound familiar? I've been there. I'll tell you how it started and how it ended. It was an ordinary morning, one of those mornings that you don't usually talk about, but I gave importance to any morning, just because I was in the company of my beloved parents. I would say it was beautiful. Mom was making toast that morning. I love toast, you know, so hot with butter spread on it, a little slice of avocado, and added bacon. My dad loved that too. Oh no! What's wrong, Mom? The toast got a little burnt. It's okay, I'll eat it anyway. It'll be good, honestly. Finally, Anna will eat bad toast, just like her dad. Dad, you're still talking about that spoiled omelet? Yeah, ugly to you, beautiful to me. I always make nice omelets. We had fun, arguing, eating breakfast. The kitchen was filled with the aroma of Mom's coffee, but Dad and I preferred fragrant tea. It was the perfect morning, like every day. After eating, Dad would grab his jacket and briefcase and then drop me off at school. Usually, he would kiss me on the cheek and say, "See you tonight, beautiful." With such high spirits, I went to lessons while changing classes and floors during the day. I had good classmates, close friends with whom I'd go to lunch to gather the gossip of the school. Among my friends was the most tongue-in-cheek, Sheila. No, but come to think of it, he came to me yesterday, without flowers, without a gift, but with a full tank of guilt. Well, it's at least good that he realized he did something wrong. Pfft, I beg you, Anna, should I put his guilt on Insta or TikTok? All my subscribers know that I resented him. Where the fuck is the proof? Where's the fucking reason to forgive the guy? All he did was not text you sweet dreams. Maybe he got tired and fell asleep? Yeah, today he's tired. Tomorrow he falls asleep. After tomorrow, will he forget me? No, let him take his guilt to the movies, right? You're unbearable. After lunch, we'd go to class again. And after I came home, where a hot lunch awaited me, I'd have a conversation with my mom about school, and in the evening, the three of us would get together for dinner. It was the perfect day, after which I slept very soundly. Anna, the curator is coming! Anna, get the fuck up! Huh? What? The curator? Our handler is a bulldog. What are you doing? She'll see you sleeping in class. She'll give us all a hard time. Wake up! Huh? Oh shit, oh no. A lump of fear clenched in my stomach. I abruptly wiped my eyes and proceeded to pay attention to the boring class. A bulldog walked into the classroom. That's what we called our supervisor, because she was always growling aggressively and drooling from her mouth at the same time. She saw that I had only 2 assignments completed and yelled loudly that Sheila and I were grounded and would now be scrubbing the floors before bedtime in the latrine. I sluggishly fumbled with a bucket of water while Sheila wet a rag. Everyone was already asleep and we were cleaning. My angry friend was mopping the floors and harping on about how I really set her up all the time. That's what you always do, huh? What? You're always dreaming about something. And because of that, we get into trouble. You should be sleeping like everybody else now, not cleaning shit off the floor. Huh? What did you say? Anna, you can't do that. Everybody likes to dream, but do it on your own time. It happens on its own. Of course it does. That's your excuse? The last time we were cleaning the kitchen, you were daydreaming on a chair. What were you dreaming about? A beautiful house, bright clothes, that you were born into a cool, famous family, and that you lived not here in a boarding school, but with rich people? And are those rich people related to you? Yeah, it was a good dream. Yeah, only your potatoes burned and we had to wash the kitchen till morning. And before that, you had a dream that you got out of here, met Prince Charming, and had a great time with him. We cleaned the yard after that. What about today? What did you dream about today? That I had a family. Anna, those are beautiful dreams, but our reality is different. We are orphans. We've been living here almost since birth. We don't know our family, and all we have to do is obey Bulldog and follow all her instructions. Otherwise, we clean up or starve to death. And because of you, I'm also in trouble, you know? I'm your friend, no doubt, but I want to eat and sleep too, not work late. Okay, I'm sorry. It won't happen again. We finished the floors and went to bed. Mornings at boarding school are very different from the ones I have in my dreams. Everything there is systematic, and there is a strict regimen. If you don't make it on time, you're punished. If you don't do something, you're punished. The only joy in my life was to dream of a better life. I dreamed of being adopted by wonderful people, of my parents coming to find me, and of being happy and taking Sheila with us. The next morning was very important because our boarding school was expecting important guests, including a review board. We had to show that we were getting an education and were taught discipline and order. The best of us had the prospect of being adopted out of turn. And as you might imagine, I decided to invest in the day to the best of my ability. When the committee arrived, we performed theatrical skits, read poetry, sang songs, and then the committee went to lunch. At this time, we had a chance to rest, and then to follow the program again. We rehearsed this day for 2 weeks. Everybody wanted to get out of there as soon as possible, so the committee came out and we had an open math class. For every question asked, I raised my hand, answered at the speed of light, surprised the committee with my answers, counted quickly in my head, and they loved it. Afterward, I politely escorted the guests out, which won them over. A satisfied bulldog came in and informed me that someone from the committee had now decided to adopt me. This news sent my heart racing. I could not believe my joy and jumped to the ceiling. I couldn't believe that I would finally have my own family and home. The interview went great. The next morning, I said goodbye to Sheila, but I promised to come back for her. I gave her my word right then and there. My new mom had a fancy house, 2 other kids, and I. She immediately suggested that I call her mom, and I was assigned a room. It was even better than I had imagined. My new mom promised to do some shopping the next day and read me a story before I went to bed. Man, I couldn't have been happier, really. And then it was just like in the movies. Breakfast with my brothers, weekend movies, a new school, my first friends, and visits to the grandparents. Anna, aren't you feeling well? Mom asked, taking me to school in the car. No, I'm fine. Why? You're just acting weird today. I'm fine, Mom. Why? Why are you calling me Mom? You're the one who told me to call you Mom on my first day here. What first day? Since the adoption? What adoption? And then I looked out the window and I realized that we weren't going anywhere. The car was still there, and I could see the wall of my boarding school outside the window. I got hysterical, begging my mom not to put me there anymore. I saw Sheila standing by the window, crying, and then I was abruptly pulled out by a familiar, heavy hand. Get out, you little brat! What do you think you're doing? I'm sorry, ma'am. This girl here is a little sick. Often gets stuck in her dreams and doesn't know what she's doing. Would you be so kind, please? During her checkup, she called me Mama, and then she went and got in my car. Maybe she should see a doctor. That's what we'll do. I was pushed out into the street, and it wasn't until later that I realized it was just another illusion I had, that no one had adopted me. I had just been dreaming and almost lost my mind. Each time my dreams looked more and more realistic, and it scared Sheila. I couldn't separate reality from wishful thinking anymore. I felt so bad that I sat down on the ground and cried bitterly. Then, for the first time, our creator didn't say anything, and she let me be there with Sheila. My friend reassured me. She was worried sick, I understand, but I was so perplexed as to why exactly I was in this situation. Sheila is right. We don't even know anything about our biological parents, but honestly, I prefer to think I was stolen from them than that they gave me up voluntarily. It has been a month since that day. I've begun to have a little control over my illusionary world so that I don't go crazy. But still, guys, dreams are great because they're the only things that keep my spirits up. I do believe in warm mornings, burnt toast, and the smell of scented tea.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophie. Today I will share my story. Maybe you will judge me, but in the end I had to do it. Free myself, so to speak. I sold mine precisely. In general, I will tell you from the beginning. My father was a pilot, and as you know, they are rarely at home. Permanent work, training in other countries, business trips. But despite this, I loved it very much and always looked forward to it. Every time he visited a new country, he brought a gift that we thought was a talisman. At times when I missed my dad very much, or when I had bad moments, I would open the box with talismans. They were very reassuring. It was like sitting by the river, watching the current and finding new strength. I had in my collection a rhinoceros from Africa, a silk handkerchief from Turkey, a wax figure from Prague, and many, many other most interesting and unusual things. But the most important of them was the Hierophia stone. This non-ordinary talisman, it was as if there was an unusual amount of energy in it. He gave a lot of strength and self-confidence. I didn't get it easily. This stone is not for sale, and it could only be found in India on a high mountain in a temple. The Buddhists would only entrust this stone to a few, namely those who would bring the letter. In the letter, the future owner of the amulet had to state about himself, views on life, promised to change himself and treat all living beings with pure intentions and soul. In general, there was a whole book dedicated to this stone and the letter. The Buddhist opened the letter, read aloud, and after which of these stones changed its color from black to blue, he gave it to them. Let me remind you that this happened very rarely. They came from all over the world, and only a few managed to buy this precious stone. Once my father finally took a vacation and we all had to fly to the sea. I took advantage of the moment to persuade to take a vacation to India. To be honest, I spent half a year on the letter, hundreds of times reworked, thought about almost every letter. I prepared carefully for the meeting with the Buddhist, and the rest of my family was a great happiness for me. Therefore, the vacation was long awaited. Well, this moment came, and we went on a journey. The time passed very cheerfully. We spent so little time together, and I tried to enjoy every second of it. On the last day of our trip, my dad and I went to the same mountain. We specifically left it for the last day in case I didn't get the stone, so as to not spoil our vacation. The climb was not easy. On the one hand, it was hard to climb so high, and on the other, I was very worried. Having overcome 1,000 steps, my expectations were fulfilled. I got my long-awaited stone, Hierophia. My intentions were sincere, and the amulet was to my liking. It was the perfect end to a vacation. It was very sad to leave India, but my father promised that we would fly here again in a year. But unfortunately, life has its own plans. After a month off, my father went back to work. On the first day, there was a terrible plane crash. The plane crashed, and my world collapsed with it. The bright, bright days turned to gray. My adolescence aggravated my condition, and that good-natured, cheerful girl died in me. Even after the anniversary of my dad's death, my depression didn't go away. It just kept getting worse. And then my mother decided to move to another city. The psychologist recommended getting rid of all things related to Dad, but we couldn't make up our minds and just left the house and moved to another city with the necessary things. In my memory, the days passed quickly. A new city, a new society replaced my boring, meaningless days. I began to open up to people again, to communicate. This fate and I cannot return and change everything. With such thoughts, I tried to awaken in myself the girl who existed when Dad was alive. It was very difficult to cope. Over time, we had a hard time with money because Dad provided for us. After 5 years, my mother and I were forced to sell the house that we once left in memory of my father, and all things with it. While flipping through the internet, I saw the stone Hierophia. The author wanted to buy it, but I did not pay attention, thinking that someone was just joking and soon forgot about this ad. First of all, I had to sort out my box with talismans. I sat from morning to evening. My head was swimming with thoughts with different memories. I realized that I really missed these gifts. But no matter how much I thought about it, I just couldn't get rid of them and decided to keep everything for myself and find the strength to get back on my feet and go back to my old life. But that amulet brought from India stopped changing its color, probably because I became a person not with an open soul. I stopped being friendly. I was angry, remembering how much time and effort I'd spent on him. I stroked it again and again, but it also remained insensitively black. Out of anger, I decided to get rid of it. I typed the name of the amulet on the internet, and there were 1,000 ads for its purchase. People were willing to give millions for this little amulet. Gradually, my anger turned to excitement, and I imagined how my mother and I could get rich in an instant. I didn't think to put the stone up for sale. From the first day, a dozen calls came, and with each call, the amount for the amulet increased. Greed took possession of me. I was waiting for a buyer who would offer more. More than what amount? I didn't know yet. After much thought, I put up for auction my own, or rather my father's and my amulet. The auction lasted all day, and at the end of it, $2 million was offered for the stone. Without a drop of regret, the next day I handed it to the next owner. At that time, it was the right decision for me. It seemed that I helped my mother, and we got rich. But over time, the anger faded, and the mind came to itself. I felt very bad and ashamed. I forgot the most important thing, that the only owner of the amulet is only me, and the amulet is not worth any money, because this is what's left of my dad. The amulet linked me to past vivid memories of my father. I realized that when I held it in my hand, I could feel my dad's presence next to me, and the energy in him gave me more strength and confidence. Parents' gifts are priceless and can never be returned. My mother reminded me of all this when I handed over the money for the amulet. She cried for a long time, didn't understand why I became so selfish. Along with it, did not understand me. I seem to have sold my loyalty to my father along with the amulet. After all, every item in this treasured box is a part of my father, and the stone was his heart. It's a pity that I realize this only now. And apparently, nothing can be fixed.